Justin, thanks for coming down from the States. How are you enjoying GAUC Sydney today?
This is great. Like you said, I've never been to Sydney, never been to Australia. What an amazing city. I'm completely smitten. And the conference is fantastic. It's one of the best parts about my job is I get to get out from Google and interact with our users. Yep. And hearing about what's happening here in the Australian market, yep, what people like and what people don't like about Google Analytics has been really good. Can
you tell us a little bit about your role within Google Analytics?
So my title at Google is Analytics Advocate, yep, and I do three primary things on our team. First thing I do is I help with sales and marketing. So I get out to events and help with sales and help with different product launches. I work with our product team, so to talk about like what features are we going to add and how we might fix the product and make it better. And the third thing I do is education. I work with our education team to discuss how we're going to educate our users.
Where do you see Google Analytics going in 2013?
I think we're at this really interesting time for marketing and digital analytics. Between the explosion of mobile, social, and big data, we kind of sit right in the middle of those three things. And one of the things that I've observed is a lot of the clients that I've worked with in the past and have talked to our users, they're focusing on the customer. And I think, obviously social analytics has become pretty standard now. I think mobile analytics is becoming pretty standard now. And I think the next place that you'll see digital analytics is how do we understand our customers better? And I think that's for our entire industry.
Can you share anything about your advice regarding best practice implementations for a big Asia-Pacific organization that might have different domain names and sites in different countries around our region?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And it's something I've kind of learned about Australia, right? The Australian market is really in Asia Pacific, right? You get a lot of different countries because everything's so close, and it presents challenges. So when you have a business that is multilingual, multinational, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. And I think the two ways that I've seen a lot of companies tackle that challenge is they either pull all of their data together inside of analytics and they just collect it in one giant bucket. And then they might use our API to pull out what they need for each individual company. But I've also seen them kind of split it apart within Google Analytics, right? So they might track Sri Lanka in one bucket, Australia in one bucket, Indonesia in one bucket, and then look at it in different buckets within analytics, but then maybe merge it together in the API. Right. So you've got, the nice thing is you have that, the ability to do those different types of approaches.
So Justin, do you have any advice about linking of multi-channel funnels to the geographic location?
Yeah, so I think the great thing about multi-channel funnels is they help you understand behavior. Does it take one visit to convert, 3 visits to convert? And I think when you talk about geography, you're looking for changes in behavior, right? Because geography is a certain segment. So my biggest advice would be to look at the multi-channel behavior of those different places, right? So if it takes 1 or 2 visits in Australia versus 3 or 4 visits in Japan, what are those channels that really contribute to those different types of things? And then adjust, right? So if it is a shorter type of interaction in Australia, you can focus on really working the channels that matter.
How about not provided? The not provided setting in Google Analytics. Have you got any, for the keywords, is there any insight or advice you can give us about what Google is trying to do to overcome that issue?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and for anyone that's doing SEO, obviously having keyword data is super important. I just want to point out that the not provided data in Google Analytics is not Google Analytics. That would happen in any analytics package on the market. Google hides the keyword for any logged in user of Google. So it doesn't matter if you use Omniture, IBM, or WebTrends, you don't have granular keyword data for organic traffic from logged in users. My best advice is it's always about the behavior with analytics. And I would look to compare the behavior of people coming from not provided to other groups that I know, right? So I might compare them to people coming from branded search. I might compare them to people coming from non-branded search. And if I really want to get detailed, I'll look at the landing pages of people coming from not provided and try to look to see, am I doing any SEO on those pages? And if so, even though I don't have the keywords, I know what tactics I'm taking, and I might be able to evaluate it there. So Google takes privacy really seriously for all of our users. And here on the analytics team, we're trying to give the best data possible given the behavior of Google.
Can you tell us a little bit about the future for Google Analytics Premium in Australia?
Google Analytics Premium differs in a few ways. The way that I usually talk about it is, first and foremost, it's got a bigger engine, right? It's going to collect more data, it's going to store more data, and it's going to process that data faster than the standard version of Google Analytics. So any company that's struggling maybe with the amount of data that they have in the free version of Google Analytics, they might consider looking at Premium. The second thing is we put guarantees around that data. So there are SLAs around the reporting uptime, the data collection uptime, and those are financially backed, so it's valuable to the customers. And the third thing I like to talk about with Premium is that there are a couple of features that are different than the standard version. So you can use 50 custom variables, which is a really big benefit because you get to add more data to analytics that's custom to your business. And the other thing is the attribution modeling tool that we have in the premium version, which is really useful to understanding your ROI. There are some ceilings. We can work with your business. We started, the first ceiling is 1 billion hits of data per month, which is very generous, but we can collect a lot more than that.
Justin, just to wrap up, can you give us 3 of your top tips for the upcoming web analyst?
Yeah, so if you're looking to get into analytics, the first thing I would say is don't be a web analyst, be a digital analyst. Things are changing fast, so you need to understand web, mobile, apps. You need to understand social. So understand the ecosystem. I think you need to understand the different advertising opportunities as well. And the biggest thing I could tell you is understand business, right? You need to understand the business and what it's doing from a marketing perspective in order to analyze it more effectively.